guys, welcome back to Bit by Bit for another coffee break video. Today we're talking about our nerdiest moments in gaming, which may seem like sort of a repetitive topic, but we can take it to a whole new level, trust me. For me, when I think about like when you're being like extra nerd, like with video gaming, a lot of time I think of like type A gamers, like people who are really type A, but also gamers. And I guess I'm just gonna like jump in with this like example because we talked about it briefly before the video. And I was shocked, you were shocked by the thing that my brother sent me. Most of my best video game stories come from me playing games with my brother. And recently, while I was at your place for the Super Bowl, right before that, I received a call from my brother. And he was on the phone with me, and he was like, "Okay, I know you turned this down once before." I did. And he said, "But I've been thinking more about this Pokemon Legacy thing." And I'll explain what Pokemon Legacy is momentarily. And he said, "So I've been thinking more about this Pokemon Legacy thing." And he proceeded to explain some of the details. And he was like, "So can you, is this something that we can maybe try to do? Please? Really? Please? Can we do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he was like, "Okay, great. That was surprisingly easy." And I don't know if it's just like in a really good mood or something. And now I'm actually kind of excited for it. But Pokemon Legacy is this thing that my brother came up with. I don't even know if there's something else called Pokemon Legacy. I just know my brother made this up, and this is what we're calling it. We're calling it Pokemon Legacy. Is we are going to go through all of the generations of Pokemon one at a time with pre-drafted 12-man teams. So the 12-man team kind of works like we pick a 12-man team before, and there's like a bench that we have pre-selected as well. And we play the whole first gen, right? And then we pick a new 12-man team for the second game. We play the whole second gen. We go through, and at the very end, we have a massive tournament with all the teams from all the generations, all 12 from each one. And each generation, you can only pick like Pokemon from that generation. So you can't have like a Pikachu in like the like 5th gen or whatever. I don't even know if you can get a Pikachu in the 5th gen. I can't remember. So that's kind of how it works. And so I thought that was it. I thought, okay, cool. We're doing this weird thing. And it's pretty weird, and it'll be fun, and I'm excited about it. And then the next day I got this email that I really enjoyed, actually. My brother, like me, is very type A. And I get this email, and it just is labeled Pokemon Legacy with one of those like smiley faces that has like the D, so it looks like there's a really excited face. And the only subject line is, "This will be fun." And then he signed his name, and then there's a personal reference that no one will get, so I'm not going to repeat it here, but I know what it means, and it's funny. And then there was attached a document, which I don't know if anyone will be able to see this, but I'm going to briefly show just that I get this document with all these guidelines in it on my phone. I'm like, what happened? It's been less than 24 hours, and this happened. And so I'm going to read a little bit of it because for you to understand. I think this is great. I don't want it to come off like I'm making fun of my brother. I think this is fantastic, but it's pretty over the top. That's for sure. It's pretty over the top. So it's labeled Pokemon Legacy and Generation Draft Guidelines. Okay. And it says each player will be allowed to officially foster 12 Pokemon from each generation, 7 generations total. Should a player wish to train a Pokemon outside of that selected 12, they may allow that Pokemon a 1-badge circuit trial run.
What does that mean?
That means that if you have one of your bench Pokemon and you're not sure if you want to have it in your 12-man team or not, you can try it out for between one badge and another. So you can try it out between the time you beat the second and the time you beat the third. Okay. And then after that, you either have to put it in or take it out. You see what I mean? And so he has a couple more rules like that, and then we have some clauses.
Wait, really quick. So with 12-man teams, that means you have 6 Pokemon like in your actual roster and 6 on the bench?
Yeah.
Okay, so then how is it...
Okay, so the way that you normally play, I've noticed, you normally play with a 6-man team and you switch people in and out. Yes. How me and Mike usually play is we usually have at least 12, if not more, Pokemon that we play with at all times. Okay. But then we bring different ones to our personal battles. So they all go up to levels together. They don't... Okay,
and that's your 12-man team.
And then we have 6 on the bench.
Okay, so is it like
total.
So if you're starting, let's say, Pokemon, like Red or whatever, right? Like, okay, so if you're starting Pokemon Red, then once you catch the Pokemon that you want, and when do you have, at what point, is there a point in the game that by then you have to have already established your 12-man team?
Well, we drafted ahead of time.
Oh,
so just last night, my brother and I both cracked open a beer because we're drafting. Yeah, he made that joke, and I was surprised. He's in Nevada, and I'm here in Chicago. And so we were on the phone on a speakerphone, and we did our draft, which means we had his wife pick a number between 1 and 10, and then we each picked a number, and then he won like the deciding first pick, which means he got.
So it's literally like
a draft.
like literally a draft. Like
we draft them before. Yes, like sports.
Oh, so then in the game, your job is just to kind of just get your man, and then
beat him. Yeah. Then we fight. And so how it works is like it works based on what Pokemon are available to us at each point in the game. So if by the time we get to level 20, if I have 4 of my drafted Pokemon available to me at that point in the game, and Michael only has 3, then we do a 3-on-3 battle, and I leave one of my men out. You see what it means? Until we have everything. So that's how it's going to work. But there's rules. There's specific rules to the draft. That's what this guideline was for. It came a week before my draft. He was explaining the rules to me, so I had time to prepare my draft picks, and so I did. And he has the Disciple Clause, which is no more than 2 of the original 12 Pokemon of any player's team may be replaced by a trial Pokemon per generation. So that means I can't switch in 6 of my bench Pokemon. I can have 6 on the bench, but ultimately, if I decide to switch people in, I can only have 2 max that go in. Okay. So, and then he talks a little bit about the format of battling and how that can be decided amongst the players, and that's fine, you know. Then he has the generation draft principles. So each player will draft 18 Pokemon from each generation. 12, and then 6 on the bench.
Okay.
Should 36 Pokemon evolution lines, legendary Pokemon are not viable legacy, be unavailable in the generation, each player will draft a number of Pokemon lower than 18 as they see fit. So that means if, like in X and Y, there might not be 36 different new evolutionary lines. Right, so that means that we pick a number lower than that. And then players will determine who drafts the first Pokemon in the first generation using any method they deem reasonable, and he gives some options, okay? And we did that. And then he has referenced the following clauses for additional rules of the draft. And then he has the clauses. So there's a protection clause. Before a draft commences, a player may select 2 Pokemon to protect from the draft. So that means, what happened was you could pick 2 that the other person can't draft at the very beginning. And what happened in our draft was I picked Dugong and, so we named them by the final evolution, not the first evolution. So I picked Dugong and Cloyster, and he picked Lapras and Cloyster. And so then we had a mix-up, and what this clause basically says is, like, and at that point, if there's like an overlap in who picks the protection, then you have to discuss amongst yourself, like, a way for you to get past that. So I eventually allowed Michael to pick Cloyster as his, protected Pokemon if he gave me 2 picks in a row in round 3 of the draft. That's what we went, because I was like round 1 of the draft, and he was like, no, that's too much. So we went to round 3 of the draft. So that way, I got to pick 2 that round, and I thought that was pretty useful. So, and then we have the trade clause. Okay. So the trade clause explains that players may trade with each other under the following stipulations. So Team 12 Pokemon may be traded 1-to-1 with each other. While benched Pokemon may also be traded 1-to-1 with each other. But if you want to trade benched Pokemon with a Team 12 Pokemon on someone else's team. So if I want to trade one of my Team 12 Pokemon for one of his bench Pokemon, he has to give me 2 bench Pokemon for one of my Team 12 Pokemon.
Okay.
2-to-1 ratio. He said no Pokemon may be traded for less than his trade value, and a Pokemon may only be traded for more than his trade value if both players agree to the trade.
Okay.
Yeah. So that happened yesterday too, where he wanted my Victory Bell. And my Victory Bell was on my bench. And so after the draft, he's like, yeah, I'd like to trade for your Victory Bell. And so I traded my Victory Bell and my...
But when you battle, it's only with the 12, right?
Yes, but...
So what is the bench? What is the purpose of the bench?
So let's say it's like this. I've got my 12 Pokemon, or I've got a start of my 12 Pokemon as we're going through. And I realized, I picked to have my, Cloyster in the main group, but I'm like not really feeling it, or they like not meshing with what's going on here, and so, or that kind of thing. Like
you gotta make some changes in your roster.
Right. The chemistry's not right. Okay. And so I decide, I don't want to have Cloyster in anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and switch in my Dugong on the bench, whatever. Okay. This is not based on my actual draft. That's not how my draft is.
Right.
But I could switch in the Dugong for the Cloyster, and then the Cloyster's not my team anymore.
Okay.
So you could only have 12, but you can switch the bench in. Yeah, okay. So it's just like in a game of baseball. You can only have 9 players on the field, right? But you can take someone off the bench and switch them out for someone else to come back on the bench.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So it works like that just in sports. And so that's that rule. And then, there's a couple of other minor ones I'm not going to go into. But, that's pretty much it. But there's rules, they were laid out, and then he called me to confirm them, and then when we called on the phone to do it, he's like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and read these out loud, and we're going to go through and see if anyone has any questions. And I was like, anyone? You mean like there's 2 of us? Like, you mean if I have any questions? Because you made the rules. So so I just really appreciated that, though. I did appreciate it. I'm going to put it on my blog and everything, because I feel like the essence of my blog is like for people who are type A gamers, because I'm like, I can't find these things on the internet. If you looked up how to do something on the internet, it doesn't exist because people aren't that crazy. Most people aren't, but that's who I want to be there for. So that's my currently nerdiest, very relevant, happening right now moment in gaming. And I'd like to know what yours is and see if it tops it.
I think it gets competitive. It's not as elaborate. I think this is also something I want to feature in my own blog because and this is not to get too into it, but what I kind of use my blog for is stuff that I think that I just kind of feel like I want to write without being like super, super like oriented towards like making it absolutely, I guess, perfect for whatever platform I want to put it on. And then also stuff that I feel like no one would want this on their site, but I want it on my site. Like, you know, so I'm trying to do a lot of weird stuff there that's still valuable to people, but like so specific that like no one, like Polygon doesn't want this. Like, come on, it's like no, Kotaku doesn't even want this. Like, even like they get out there, but they're like, this is just weird. Like, that's what I'm going for. And I think I have a couple things in line for that already. But for me, the nerdiest thing that comes to mind that I did, and I guess I'll also get my phone out. I do have posters for this, but I didn't take them out. And also, I think it's probably for the best because they're really big. So I don't think they'd work fitting on camera. I think I'd hit just in the face with them. So, but my thing is also involving my brother. And it is, of course, our FIFA tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
So this started way back when, during FIFA 16. I had never played, we never played any like soccer sims. But when I was younger, we did do a lot of like NBA Street, NFL Street, like Madden 2003. I had to get good at that. I think I actually got pretty good at it because I had to. I had no choice. I had to play it. And I didn't like football, so that was a rough one. But I do like soccer though. And my brother likes soccer a lot. And he's like, "Oh, let's play FIFA. Let's try this out." And we loved it. It was great. It's like, if you like soccer, I have so many recommendations for FIFA. I'm not going to get into them now. I will maybe link some things below. I've written about FIFA a lot. That's all I write about for any gaming site I'm on. I try to write about FIFA, but I really do like FIFA. I think it's great. Even if you're not a soccer fan, I think it's especially great if you are a soccer fan because like the excitement you get watching like a regular soccer game, it's basically the same playing it. The only difference is, I guess, like you might feel more if your team's up for like, you know, like a big game or something in real life, then that might be more intense than like a friendly FIFA match. But during the FIFA tournament, it was exactly as intense. So let me explain these FIFA tournaments. So we have like a lot of them. They started with my brother kept asking me to play FIFA with him like randomly, and me and Joseph talked about this on the channel before, but like I don't really like when I feel like things are thrown onto me. I want things kind of more scheduled out. Like the only time I like stuff like impromptu is kind of when I'm in control, like, oh, I wonder what I'm gonna do next. Like, that's fine, but I don't like people just coming up to, and my brother would ask me a lot. I felt like he would ask me a lot. And I'm like, you need to leave me alone. But it was karma from all the times I would bother him as a child. So I wasn't too upset by it. But I'm like, you know what, let's add some structure to this. So that's why we started the FIFA tournaments. And our first tournament was just like huge. It was like 30 teams, maybe more. And we named it the Copa de Queso, which is the cup of cheese. There's a cheese cup. The Johnny Rico Invitational, because we had asked on Twitter, like we tweeted it, like some people on the Mexican Soccer Show, like what we should name our FIFA tournament. And we had like options for people to vote on Twitter. And one of the guys, Johnny Rico, this Mexican soccer journalist, was like, you should call it the Johnny Rico Invitational. And we're like, that'll be the sub name. So that was pretty unorganized, but we just did it. And we had it on a big like poster board you can get at Walgreens that you would normally use for a school project, but that we used for this. And from there and that's like not super weird. We wrote all the teams' names, but we also had drafts. So we picked, my brother Edwin came up with all the teams, and then we like wrote them on a piece of paper and put them into a hat, and then we picked them. And I'm pretty sure like the skill level of the teams, like the rankings was like pretty all over the place, but somehow like with the randomness, it usually evened out. So like sometimes one person would have an advantage, sometimes someone else would. But yeah, that was a really early tournament, so I like lost like almost all the time because I really sucked at the game still. And then as each tournament has gone, I've gotten better and better, and have not won a tournament yet. I was going to mention this on a video before, but I think that video got lost. But yeah, anyway, so I'm getting a little off topic. But the point is that one didn't really have a theme. Then we decided we liked that, so we did more themes. Or like we had it more specifically themed. So our next one was named after Kelly Sue DeConnick's comic book, and it was called Bitch Planet. So it had and for those of you who don't know, Bitch Planet it's like a dystopian comic about like women like who like were sent off to like Bitch Planet because like they were like sent off for being non-compliant women. So it's a very feminist comic book. And so we name, and there's like a sport they play in it as well that's like kind of like football, right? It's basically football-ish, like rugby.
Yeah, it's
almost.
like it feels more like rugby.
It's like a janky rugby.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's its own sport.
Yeah,
it's like a weird wrestling, fighting rugby.
It has a name, but I don't remember the name. So we called that tournament Bitch Planet, and we played with all women. And the main reason we did this tournament too was because for some reason, which I totally don't agree with, but in FIFA, you cannot play a women's team against a men's team.
That's a bummer.
Which I think is stupid. Not because like I understand like why in real life like maybe women's teams can't really play men's teams in some level. I'm not going to argue against that. I just think it's stupid because it's a video game. I can play the Chicago Fire against the Chicago Fire wearing the exact same jerseys. But like a women's team against a men's team, oh, that's just crazy. No, that's like
it's just numbers,
right?
Like,
Exactly.
You should be able to just plug that in.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
why did you design it? Like, it's like you designed so many other ways this can go wrong, or not be evenly matched. Like, if you're telling me like Pachuca can face Real Madrid, like that's way more uneven than like a good women's team against even a worse men's team. There's ways to make that even. It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so that's the reason the women have a separate tournament, because the game doesn't let you do it all together. After that, we did, and these might be out of order. We had my favorite tournament, which was I should have brought actually like all my little items now. I might toss photos of them in here. But we had a Bundesliga tournament, and the Bundesliga is the German soccer league. And for that, we had like the colors on our tournament board were the colors of the German flag. So it was all color coordinated to look. So the board visually looked like the German flag, and then it was all German teams. And then to add on to that, and let me see if I can find the playlist just to kind of refer to it. We also like extend. So this is when our themes got really intense. This is why it got like really nerdy. We also like themed it with music. So but we don't know German music, so it was a little hard. So we just like looked up on Spotify and we listened to like German folk songs. And so we didn't listen to the whole tournament because there weren't enough songs. But for the final of our tournament, we like listened to German folk music for like the last 3 games leading up to the semifinal and the final. And then we also drank German beer. So we went to the beverage depot and we looked for some German beers. And then we also bought a like glass that had the German beer that we drank on it. We bought that after the fact as a memento of the tournament to save in the apartment. So that's what we did. Wait, hold on. The Bundesliga tournament was called 99 Luft Balloons after the song 99 Luft Balloons, which is a very popular German song, at least popular in the United States. And this is the thing I forgot. This is where it gets really weird. For the end, we filled the room with red balloons. We did not fill it up with 99 red balloons.
It's too much, yeah.
Because we didn't have, fiscally we couldn't do it. It wasn't like we didn't have the passion for it. We filled the whole living room with 99 Luft Balloons. And then we listened to 99 Luft Balloons during the tournament. And that tournament went to golden goal. The way we did our matches, all of the matches, is if you were tied at the end of a game, then you went to golden goal. But instead of just continuing the game, we hit rematch on that game. That way the players wouldn't be tired. So then it would be whoever scored the goal first won the thing. And we would do that as many times as needed because we don't like penalty kicks, because it's kind of like a toss-up on who's going to win. 2, we suck at penalty kicks, actually. So it never feels like an accurate reflection. And that game really, that loss of that tournament really stung because my brother actually he won that game on golden goal while the song 99 Luft Balloons was playing. And it was one of the most amazing moments in esports history. And that was the first really, really nerdy tournament we did.
So good.
After that, I'm just going to read a couple of these playlists off. After that, we did a Japanese league tournament, and we called that, I think, just the J Cup, maybe, just for J League. I don't think it had a no, sorry, that's not at all true. We called the Maneki Neku Cup after the Maneki Neku cats that are both, I'm not sure if Maneki Neku cats are both Chinese and Japanese. I think they might actually be in both cultures. I don't remember. Though we did look it up. We did a lot of research to make sure everything was like thematically accurate and like respectful of people. So we had that, which is it like translates to like Lucky Cat. So that was the name of the Neku Neku Cup. Was all the Japanese teams, and then during the entire tournament, we listened to Japanese music. We do not know Japanese music, but we went on Spotify and we found a playlist called J-pop, and I just pressed it and I just had it on shuffle, and we listened to J-pop the entire tournament.
That's fantastic.
So we had the game music muted, and then at the end of that, we also drank Japanese beer, And then that was, I think, all the themes in that tournament. We also bought him a Neku Neku for early on in the tournament, and it's still in my apartment. It just stays there waving.
That's what that's
yeah,
from?
it's just waving.
Oh,
yeah, it's the
terrifying.
Neku cat.
Every time we were playing Resident Evil, I thought something was happening to me because this thing's waving.
And then we like put it up there on the mantle, like fireplace, for when we had the final going, and it just stays there.
That's fantastic.
I remember they won that one too, but at least he won. At least overall, I don't remember if he won the final because we tally up who wins how many matches, and the winner of the tournament is whoever wins the most games. And then there's like a secret, not like a second winner, but there's kind of also like a fun fact of did you win the last game? Because
right,
technically
like the championship type thing.
That's always fun. And then I think that's almost everything, except for the last one we had. What was the last ones were really weird because we also added Garb into it. So we did.
I love this.
We did the Started from the Bottom Cup, which that one was themed off of teams that were relegated before but came out of relegation. So in soccer, what this means is like a lot of leagues have like relegation like components to them. I might not be explaining this super accurately, but this is the gist of it. Which means that in the league, like the bottom team or maybe the 2 or 3 bottom teams of the league statistically, you get demoted to like the minors basically. So a lot of and sometimes they don't do it every year. Sometimes it'll be like you have to be, if you're at the bottom like 2 years in a row, then you get relegated. So different leagues handle relegation differently. Some leagues don't have relegation at all. Like the MLS in America does not have any relegation like factored in at all. Liga MX does. I think you need multiple years. And then I think Premier League, I think it's like if you're like at the bottom, like you're just knocked out. I'm pretty sure. I think it's really strict in Premier League, but I might be wrong. So we had teams that were previously relegated and now they're back because they started from the bottom and now they are here as the Drake song goes. So we made a playlist themed. So these ones we had to make our own playlist. That's why I kind of took it to the next level. So we had a playlist all about starting from the bottom and arriving to success. So obviously we had Drake's Started from the Bottom, which was like the flagship song of the tournament. Then we also had, other just some examples. We had The Good Life by Kanye West. We had Big Rings by Drake. We had all of these I hope to eventually share to you when I write the articles on these so you guys can use these if you want to. They're pretty good. I'm Number One by Nelly. It's mainly like Super Rich Kids by Frank Ocean. Like it's a pretty good. Welcome Back by Macy because you like came back. Work by Rihanna. Like these are just a couple examples of what we had. Then we had and then for the end of that one we I forgot what we drank to like celebrate. It might have been we might have drank champagne, but I don't remember. And then we wore our graduation robes to represent our own success. We didn't really have a good thing for that, so that was the best we could come up with. It was really weird because my dad was like, "Why are you wearing your robes?" And we're like, "It's for FIFA 17." And then the very last one, and I'll try to wrap this up, is we had the what was it? The Luxury Cup, and this was one of my favorite themes, even though this one also broke my heart because I lost at the very last game. But the Luxury Cup it had a lot of overlap playlist-wise with the Start from the Bottom Cup because they have similar themes. But the Luxury Cup was statistically, and my brother did his research, the teams that like have the most money and like spend the most money on their teams. So it had like all the big name teams, and it caught one team that like I don't even know why they're on there, and I forgot their name. But they had like PSG. I'm pretty sure Real Madrid was on there. Like all the the big bougie teams that like are really successful and have all this money and have like all these all these great players in them and all that. So that one had like other like luxurious songs. We had like Money Trees by Kendrick Lamar, Diva by Beyonce, Bitch Better Have My Money by Rihanna, Get This Money, Cream, Got Money, Rich Girl by Gwen Stefani, like It's All About the Benjamins by P. Diddy, like Tom Ford by Jay-Z. Like it was like all about like just luxury. It's just, and if you just read down the list, it's like extremely money, like Big Chips, Baller Baby, Poppin' Bottles, Big Papa, Poppin' My Collar, 24. It's like a very like bougie like playlist. And then also for that one, I like had different designs for the posters. Like I was in charge of writing out the posters. My brother was in charge of getting the teams, and then we did the little drafts and we picked. And then what we did is we just went like one by one, and he had all the like he'd go first and he'd be like the top line, and then I'd be so when we looked at it, we knew like okay, I was this team. and then you're like this team, because it always works the same. And for the luxury cup, the way I designed it is I bought like silver and gold Sharpies. I wanted to buy the little light things for you on the poster to make it like glow, but it was really expensive, and I didn't want to drop $15 on lights for a poster for a FIFA tournament that like it's just me and my brother. So that's my like elongated spiel on, that's my main thing that I think is the nerdiest thing I've done in my life, and that I continue to do. And it's funny because one time we were in the apartment, and my brother's girlfriend had like one of her friends over, and we were playing one of our games, and I think it was during the Maneko Cup, so we had like the J-pop blasting, and we were like playing this game. It's really intense. And then we finish and we write all the stats down, and we also keep track of the stats, like who got a red card, and we put like a little card symbol. Star means you got to golden goal, and then like P with a circle means there was a penalty kick involved. Oh, okay. So we have like little statistics as well that we like add in and reflect on. And my brother's girlfriend's friend was like, oh, like what is this? And we're like, oh, it's this FIFA tournament that we do, and we kind of explained a little bit of it. And then she's like, oh, what is this for? And we're like, it's just for us. It's just for fun.
Just for fun.
And like just those crazy eyes, and you're like, it was like she probably thinks we're weird. We're like really weird, which is very true. But it was just funny because like it reminded me of that moment on How I Met Your Mother with Barney's collegiate bingo of like hooking up with different people in his college, and then it's like, well, what do you get if who else is playing this? Just me. Well, then what do you get if you win? I get bingo. It's like you're the crazy one, right? So that's my like big thing for that. We have a couple like more minutes for like to kind of hit that what we regularly hit. Do you have any other quick like weird things you've done for that? I find it funny that both of our brothers were involved, and that it involved like elaborate.
I think both of our brothers, from what I know about your brother, and obviously my own experience with my brother, both of our brothers make us nerdier people, and it's good. It's good. And they challenge us to nerd more and to nerd better. So I think it's great. Yeah, I mean, I guess the only other thing I can think of that's like nerd on top of nerd.
The Resident Evil was pretty weird.
Yeah, no, the Resident Evil was pretty weird.
From the last video that we had.
Yeah, I know. Definitely super strange. Yeah, but the only other thing I can think of that's like that is it's like a pretty quick one, but when I did my Mass Effect independent study.
Oh, yeah.
I did an independent study at Cornell. There's no video game program at Cornell, and I was just like, I pitched it to the English department. I was like, can I just do like a literary analysis and like talking about like literature via games and like this kind of stuff? And they're like, yeah, sure. So I did, and it was great. I mean, I would have did it a lot differently now because I didn't really know how to do an independent study, and like also like nobody in the English department really knows anything about games. Like my the person who did it with me was really great, but she also like she gamed a little, which I was actually surprised by. I didn't know she did, but it was like super casual. Mm-hmm. And I did appreciate her little moments of insight, about gaming, and I thought she was really great about everything. But no one really knew about gaming. So for me, I was just sort of like floundering. I was like, well, doing something academic with Mass Effect, I don't know what that looks like. And so basically what it ended up looking like was just me sitting in, not going to class, sitting in front of Mass Effect for 8 hours a day and taking notes. And it's like sitting there one night, it's like really late at night, because to be honest, like half the time senior year when we were like not in class, which for me was like never that whole block, because I had independent class, was we were just like drinking. So when I was like doing the work I was supposed to be doing late at night instead of being out doing something else, I was like sitting in front in my little pod chair, sitting playing Mass Effect, but like my notebooks and my different pens and like other stuff, and like taking my screenshots and whatever. And I stopped and I had my thing dated, and I was like doing my like intense notes with like the different denotations of whatever, and I was like, this is really weird. Like no one should be doing this. I'm taking notes on this video game. But yeah, and then I did a lot of blog posts about like the literary analysis of Mass Effect, which could have been better done, but I don't know. It's like, so I wouldn't like stick my name to them now and be like, these are great, but it was a fun experiment, and it's got me interested in the wider world of how literature and video is related.
I think you're to like kind of add on to that, but like on your end, I think you guys making, like you and your then roommate and our roommate Catherine making those Mii's, and then like that's
I forgot about that. So this was mostly Catherine now, actually. So my roommate Catherine, who's been on the show before, and who we mention almost every episode because she's a huge part of both of our lives, but mine also because I live with her and I've lived with her the past 4.5 years. We had a Nintendo Wii, and this was sophomore year of college, I think. We just got the Nintendo Wii, and it was like the first co-owned thing that we had. like that, and we made all these Miis, you know, that because we played Mario Kart a lot, and in certain parts of Mario Kart the Miis will come into the game, you know, like in the little car in the mall course and whatever, and so we made them from a whole bunch of different places. So we had some from like Game of Thrones. We had Arya Stark and Tyrion Lannister, and we had Harry Potter and Hermione Granger and Voldemort. We had Michonne from The Walking Dead. We had a whole bunch like that. We had some from Fullmetal Alchemist. We had Edward Elric, and so some of them were pretty good too. Some of them were pretty good, and then they'd be in the little car, and you'd be like, Voldemort just ran me over, you know, like, and so it was really great.
Also, I just realized this really needs to be like an extended series on our channel, so I'm gonna try to start winding it down because I don't want us to run too long on this. Yeah. Though I also think these stories are pretty interesting. How could I have forgotten, as far as my own like quick things? And I don't think you actually involved this. I think this was mainly me and Catherine, but like the shrine, the fictitious fallen. So, why did I do this? I don't know.
We just wanted decoration for the dorm.
I don't know why I did this. And I was really old already. I don't have any regrets about it. It was one of the best things I made. But like, I guess it was because you were gone, right?
This was the night I thought my sister died.
Oh yeah.
She's in it.
Can you
so
explain
it's okay.
what? Thank you. People think I'm a fucked up person.
No. I was gone I was gone.
You were out.
Janet and Catherine were working on this. We lived in the same suite together. I was out.
And Catherine was worried
at an event,
right?
Like,
if she is dead, we have to take down the shrine. It's bad timing.
No, but I thought my sister had gone rappelling and she hadn't called anyone for hours, and we were like, "Well, she's dead. She's dead. You know, it's over."
Right.
We thought she was dead. She's not dead. She's fine. She's very happy.
She just didn't. Did her phone die or?
There was no reception, and then they got lost.
Okay.
And so they were out really, really late. Like they didn't get home till like 5 hours after this week. We're like, they're dead, everything's over. And I was like really upset. So I came back from this thing, and they're like, look what we're making. And I was like, my sister's dead, and like went into the room. You know, so
but she wasn't dead. She was very undead. So that was good.
Yeah, but they would have had to take down the shrine if she was dead.
Back to the shrine that we were making. It was for the fictional fallen, the fictitious fallen.
Yeah.
So I forgot why we decided to make it. I have no clue why I thought of this, but like we kind of just maybe we collectively thought, I don't remember. We kind of just thought it would be cool to make a shrine to the fictitious fallen in our dorm. And like what this was is that we just had we had like out of like Catherine had like these old books that were like used for like kind of creative projects. We donated them and stuff for like people to make creative stuff with them. And we used some of them to like make the letters, but we had like a thing that said never forget on the top with like these big like crafted letters, and then we had little pictures that I printed out from my campus library, and they had like the pictures of the fictitious fallen. So we picked like, I guess this is automatically full of spoilers, so I tried to pick ones that you wouldn't really care about. So like from Futurama, Slurms Mackenzie, you know,
Slurms.
Like he was up there.
Party on
from Animorphs, Elfangor, you know. And then we also added bonus. We had underneath. I'm so proud of this. I don't mind at all. Underneath, we had the last lines they uttered before their tragic end. Perishing. You know, it was party on contest winners, and then Elfangor was like there will be other, or there are others, or something like that. I think it was there are others.
I think so.
And I have a typewriter that I got for Christmas one year, so I don't use it that much because it's a typewriter, so it's not really a lot of reasons to use it unless you want to be like really old school for no reason. So I only use it for like special projects and stuff. So I typed all of those on my actual typewriter and hit the little letters, and it was great. And then we had those underneath, and we just had a bunch of those. And that's what we did with that evening. And then we had like Christmas lights that went around it, and it was pretty nice to have a way to express what these characters meant to us, not just to us, but to the community. You know, I guess, you know what, now that I think about it, it was really just like a really weird nerdy version of like an altar, you know, like in Day of the Dead you have like altars for like people that pass away. Obviously I wouldn't do that for a Day of the Dead altar because that's like not appropriate for what those are, but like it's pretty trippy that happened. So that was like probably that one's really up there. That might be even weirder than the FIFA tournaments. The wearing your graduation robes to play FIFA is pretty strange. So I think, you know, it's kind of up there. I think I thought of maybe a couple other quick ones, but I think we're good where we're at this point.
It's gonna keep happening.
We need a part 2,
and we can have a part 2 later.
Yeah, but
we've got a long life ahead of us.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if we don't do it now, we'll be sure to eventually like put in the description links to any of write-ups that we do related to the things we talked about, because I know you said you're going to post something up on your blog. I'm probably eventually going to document all my FIFA tournaments as well. It was really fun. I think the thing that those things have in common though, the Mii's in the shrine were just being goofy, stuff, like whatever. Like it was an entertaining way to spend an afternoon. But I think it's interesting because what our other things have in common, like both of us having expertise in a certain game, like you and your brother with Pokemon and me and my brother with FIFA, and looking for ways to like give it structure and make it count towards something.
Yep.
Because one of the big critiques of sports sims, and I think even some critiques of Pokemon, is it's kind of like, well, you just go through it and it doesn't really like mean anything, and in FIFA especially, there's a campaign you can do, but it's not really like it doesn't follow a lot of the mechanics of what a traditional video game like follows, which is why a lot of people that play sports sims don't play anything else, and people that don't play sports sims don't play them.
The same thing.
They don't have a lot of crossover in what I think people don't realize the crossover that they have. So I think it's interesting how both of our like really nerdy organized pursuits helped give us a framework in which to like enjoy and engage with a game that we both like have a lot of experience with and want to find new ways to make it interesting.
Yep.
So yeah,
absolutely.
So that was a cool commonality.
Yeah, and go ahead and let us know if there's any like super hyper nerdy things that you do on top of like your normal like gaming pursuits or whatever, because we know you're out there. We know everyone's a little weird, and we'd like to know so that we can try them out ourselves maybe. Yeah, go ahead and leave some comments below. Give the video a thumbs up. You can tune in for our podcast. There will be a link below the video for that. And just thanks for watching.